Some people say that video games make people violent. Other people say that video games are just a bit of harmless fun. What I can say for sure is that Sons of the Forest is the best way to gauge how much of a psycho you really are. I went from peacefully building my own little homestead in the woods in the middle of a lush thicket to being a genocidal maniac all within the course of a week. This is how Sons of the Forest turned me and my friends into psychopaths. But first, if you like these kinds of videos, make sure you hit like and subscribe because it's free and it'll put a smile on my face. Without further ado, let's ride. If you've never played before, Sons of the Forest is a survival game with horror elements. What kind? Okay, so imagine if Rust had a freeform building system that was both easy to use and complex. Tons of cannibals roaming the island.
Oh my god, there goes his head!
And caves with loot guarded by mutants and fingers. No, not those. Or those. This.
Oh, Jesus! Fingers.
As soon as you spawn in, no matter which spawn you start on, you are immediately dropped in the middle of a forest with a deaf guy, and eventually you're joined by a mutant ballerina. This is Kelvin. He is your best friend. You need logs? He's got your back. Middle of winter and you need sticks? He pulls them straight out of the ground. He warns you of danger, takes orders from you, and does it all with the best smile on his face. I started on peaceful mode because I wanted to get a feel for the game before learning combat. I treated the game like high-poly Minecraft. All I did was cut down trees and stab fish and hang out with my best friends, Kelvin and Virginia. My goal in this mode was simply to learn how to build, then to build the most scenic little cottage for me and my friends. I built this riverside cottage in peaceful mode over the course of a couple days. Getting angled roofs to work is a challenge at first, but it can be done and the aesthetic is worth it. While the relaxed pace of peaceful mode made for a great time, I wanted to see what else the game had to offer. I heard there were caves full of enemies and a rough, scary world in normal mode. So I left my cottage, my 3D printer, and my Kelvin, and I moved on. And this is where I felt pressure. Everything I did mattered suddenly, and it felt like I couldn't really take a second to build the elaborate structures I really wanted to make. I spent more time building defensive walls to keep out CatDog than I did building shacks. If you don't know what CatDog is, by the way, it is not only the name of a 90s cartoon that's been lost to time in everyone's collective consciousness, it is also this fucking thing. Okay, so we got... Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! Oh my fucking god! Ah! It's CatDog! Great, he's gonna ruin pretty much all our work.
Why won't you die?
It simply takes too long and too many resources to build anything that looks cool when you need to worry about getting eaten. So that's why I invited my friends to help me out. Together, me and my 5 bestest buddies made this. It's an island fort with a zipline system. The island itself is super easy to defend because you only need to defend it in the winter. Cannibals and mutants can't swim, and sometimes you can literally bait them into jumping in the water after you, which leads to some hilarious deaths. I know what you're thinking. How did you get the logs to this island? Well, we had to use zip lines. So unfortunately, while we did end up deforesting the area, we discovered something else that was pretty neat about where we were at. We had the unique opportunity to start a zipline travel system. This travel system not only gave us the ability to have additional fun, if you will, it also gave us a really easy and convenient out in case we were ever attacked on our own off-island. By extension, the ziplines also allowed us to make use of other areas surrounding us, such as a river nearby that is abundant with fish. Thing is, when you build in this game, you are constantly facing the threat of deforestation, and building is extremely resource intensive. Luna, Yeah, he's just hanging out. He'll be fine. So we have logs from the zip lines. We have food from our fish, and we have water from the lake literally surrounding us. Life is pretty good at this point. We didn't really have much to worry about. Very little danger involved whatsoever. And this is where we started to get a little unhinged. See, now that we were really good at surviving in this survival game, the only thing left for us to really do to cure our boredom was violence.
I got you here.
Oh god, that is a lot of them! And this is where the cave system became important for us. Because any of the good weapons in the game are locked behind the cave system. You have to explore the caves if you want really good tools. And for what it's worth, the caves are actually great. They're an awesome way for you and your friends to get scared while also exercising teamwork. It's easy to dedicate close to an hour in some instances to these caves. Not only that, but this is where you'll see the horror elements truly shine, because there is a whole different set of enemies to worry about when you're in the caves. See, on land, outside, in the waking world, you have to worry about cannibals.
Oh my fucking god, I spawned in 110 cannibals. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Inside the caves, all bets are off. Suddenly, you're worrying about the freakiest creatures you could imagine. Sure, cat dog's not a big deal, but how about spider mutants? Okay, guess you're seeing a lot more fingers, or twins even. All the mutants have different things about them that make them equally as creepy as each other. Although for me personally, my personal favorite is probably fingers. For reasons I'm not going to explain. Over time and with the help of the cave system, we started to get way better at combat. But this focus on combat suddenly highlighted something very important to us. Stamina. Stamina is super important. Stamina dictates how fast you can do something, how many times you can do something. But you've played video games before. I don't really need to explain what stamina systems do. What I do need to explain is that because it's a survival game, eating and drinking, generally keeping on top of your daily needs, means that you'll have more stamina to fight, as well as to run and jump, and generally just do anything without your character dying and gasping for air. Why is my guy so winded? For the most part, water isn't really a problem. It's generally more available. The issue comes with food. Food is very difficult to find, and not all food is actually that useful. For example, a lot of the things you'll forage for in the wild, they're just kind of there, and they're not really worth looking for. You're looking more for meat, like, say, fish, or deer, caribou, or cannibals. Well, it's like your dad says when he hears your mom moaning upstairs. If you can't beat him, join him. Yes, that's right, and with no time at all, we got busy practicing the island's #1 pastime.
You can't run from us, you know that, right?
Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
It did not take us long at all to start repurposing cannibal corpses for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Since we no longer feared meatball heads or big red, suddenly cannibals were running from us and not towards us. Not to mention, the game also likes to drive the point home of the cannibals having their own social networks, their own group of people that cares about them, because when you kill a cannibal, their loved ones come and grieve for them, which of course gives you a better opportunity to get food. With all this combat, better loot, and more armor, our building style started to change too. Gone were the days of the cute little cabin in the woods by the riverside. Pretty soon, constructions like this peaceful island camp and this riverside cottage turned into mega structures surrounded by skulls and unwelcoming lakeside camps. Having this confidence in combat meant that there was no way anyone was stopping me from making the biggest, best, and craziest things I can build. I made this ossuary, mostly to have something nice to look at from the safety of my island. If you don't know what an ossuary is, it's probably better that I show you.
Old chronicles read that around 30,000 people were buried here during the Great Plague in 1318 alone. In the 15th century, a two-story church was built on the cemetery. Most of the bodies were exhumed during construction and stored in the basement of the church building. Since then, it has been used as an ossuary.
Yep, all of these bones, They're all from people. They're all real. And yes, this is a real place. And yes, while these aren't terribly common, there isn't exactly only one or two of them either. They're a real thing that exists in the world. To sum it up, an ossuary is a big church full of skulls and bones. This was going to be a huge project, so I knew I would have to fight the occasional cannibal. No problem. This was ideal because I still needed bones to fill the ossuary with. You could even say the bones were locally sourced. So now we have a home base, shelves stocked with crunchy munchies, and a zipline fast travel system. We have a safe place to return to where we weren't going to get attacked. All that's left for us is to just have fun. Once everything was said and done with the story, it was time for us to just do whatever we wanted. We had all the tools and the expertise to deal with just about any threat that came our way.
Poor man has like half my arrows in him.
We found the time to do things like learn how to use the hang glider. We also ended up finding the Knight V, which came in a recent update. It's a unicycle. The amount of sillies you guys can have while riding this thing is insane. See how much airtime everyone gets. Race to the shore from the cliff. Use it for fast travel between caves. It's literally one of the most fun things about the game. The handling isn't perfect and it can definitely be smoother, but it's an awesome experience overall.
Oh my god, I'm getting stuck.
When we started this journey, we had no idea how much fun we'd be having. From cave raids to discovering the lore with each other, to building monuments to show off. This game is nothing short of the perfect sandbox. And with regular updates and support, I have no idea how most people aren't scrambling to play. Alright, I have a meal waiting for me. Oh, there it is, it's a cannibal. Make sure you comment down below if you have anything to add to the conversation or if you have any crazy stories from Sons of the Forest yourself. Otherwise, take care, brush your hair, and peace. I'm out.